everybody.
It's a lake, Dad.
Well, I didn't really come prepared for this. Okay. Note to self: investigate route more next time. Well, guys, this is a result of me really not thinking this through. We made it! We're alive! I can imagine that these roads were probably horse only, and they definitely wouldn't have been tarmacked. But you know what? Now and again, it's fun to get out in the English countryside and remember what it was like for the people of Anne's times. You want any mud with that mud? Oh, I've got some mud from yesterday. Just passing this on the way. Wow. And here we are, Hever Castle, childhood home of Anne Boleyn. We'll definitely go in and see that. Can you imagine? We're actually walking into the home of what in the 1520s would be the last home in England of a future queen. And here we are, entering into what was the childhood home of Anne Boleyn. Probably minus the tourist boxes, of course. It's so peaceful here, and I haven't even got in. The Boleyns were a very powerful family. They weren't necessarily top-tier nobility, but they'd made some strategic marriages over the years. And Thomas Boleyn, I believe, was rising in the courts. Let's take a look inside. And there it is, Hever Castle, home of the Boleyn family and Anne when she was a child. Let's go down there. Well, thank God I picked a beautiful English winter day to take the trip to Hever Castle. I can imagine Anne walking in these grounds, reading, talking to her brother George, who she absolutely adored. Possibly thinking about the latest conversations with her father Thomas, who really believed in educating his children. They didn't all live, but Anne was one of several siblings. We're going to see her home. Look at those houses over there. What a beautiful estate. This was a place that Anne called home and ran back to when she needed to feel safe. Hever Castle. Look at the topiary. I don't know whether this was here in the time of Anne, but the extravagance wouldn't surprise me. Look at these. Fantastic. And here it is. Hever Castle still standing. Magnificent. Hever Castle had a defensive moat. And as you will see as we get closer, it had a portcullis, a defensive gate. What you see here is the last working portcullis in a castle in England. Beautiful. These Crusader slots, I think they're called, but essentially they were used for castle defence, for firing arrows out of. If you go to Jerusalem at the Jaffa Gate, you'll see very similar things on the 15th century wall that the Ottoman Emperor made. Let's go inside. Can you imagine Anne walking through here every day, surrounded by servants? This isn't just a childhood home. This is a retreat. The building must have seemed so grand to a child, so busy. Maybe she and her brothers played in this very courtyard. Look at that. Exquisite. And there he is, the man himself. I think it's worth pointing out that kings didn't ask people to be their wives. They demanded it. So even though Anne eventually agreed, at points it was getting dangerous for her to disagree. Henry's love letters, some of which are preserved, show a man blinded by obsession. He wanted Anne at all costs. And he did visit here to see her. Can you imagine eating in here? The Great Hall. Reminds me of Lord of the Rings. Roaring fires. Meat on the bone. Oh, wow. Henry once sent Anne, I think it was a ring or a buckle, with a picture of himself and a stag that he had slain. Be coincidental if that was the one, eh? Wow. It's really hard to get your head around how exquisite the craftsmanship is in this place. And it was all done by hand. If you remember when we were at Hampton Court, there was a panel, like one of these above, that had H and A, Henry and Anne, in it. It's one of the few that Henry forgot to remove when he decided he didn't want Anne anymore. The great dining hall. Henry did visit here when he was wooing Anne, so it's likely he would have eaten here. This tapestry does date from 1540, not too long after Anne's time. Fire stall from 1480. Again, I just want to draw your attention to the incredible craftsmanship. And this would have been as standard for Anne. She was raised in a relatively wealthy home. Although I'm reasonably sure the TV wasn't there. Look at that pair of boots from a horseman who rode one of a pair of horses that pulled a carriage. This room, this beautiful library, is not as it was in Anne's time. Apparently, this space, including the study through that door, would have been divided into 6 smaller rooms. Where we're standing, there would have been a steep space rising into the Boleyn's private apartments here for the first time. This is Mary Boleyn, who became King Henry's mistress. Henry never acknowledged the children that he had with her. But when their affair ended in about 1524, Henry would turn his attention to Mary's sister, Anne. I'm in another Boleyn bedroom. Something I found quite interesting about the bed. The frame comes right up to the edge of the mattress. It seems that they were as much into selfies as we are.
Get rid of it. I have to.
This is actually one of Anne Boleyn's books, the Book of Hours, along with this one. This is annotations upon the Book of Ecclesiastes. These are her actual books. And over here we have what appears to be a chapel. Did she pray in here? You can't erase Anne that easily from Hever Castle. Here are the heraldic arms of Elizabeth I. The coat of arms in the middle, that's Anne's falcon. Mother, next to daughter. If King Henry VIII did order the erasure of Anne's belongings, which is never proved as far as Hever Castle is concerned, he didn't do a thorough job. Hey, Anne. Hey, Henry. Think you better lay off those pork pies, buddy.
I turned it now.
Private. Can't go that way. There's Aaron sleeping over there. He's trying to have a nap. Wait for us. No, it's private. It's not. Only like 3 weeks.
This portrait of Anne Boleyn seems to most closely correspond with that of a medal known as the Most Happy Medal. They've done computer analysis between the two, and this may be one of the closest portraits we have to what Anne Boleyn actually looked like. This chalk drawing is said to be the most complete contemporary likeness of Anne Boleyn to survive. People doubted it because she was in informal clothing, but the artist, often produced portraits of famous people in informal settings. Was this what Anne Boleyn really looked like? Goodbye, Anne. I may be leaving, but you're certainly not forgotten.